Enjoyed that, Meta. That was awesome, right? Come on, a round of applause. It's so good. So good.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to do a little competition. We've got 2 copies of Meta's book, No Malice. He will sign them for you. What you have to do right now is get out the Rise app, find Meta in the app, and the first 2 people that text the answer to the question, how much did Meta get from the raffle of his ring, will get the books.
That's funny.
Is that good?
That sounds good.
Okay,
so
great.
I gotta turn on my app.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's the most important thing, actually.
I didn't want the phone to go off while I was up here, but I'll turn on my phone and yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so you got it? The raffle price in the story that you just told, and you get 2 copies of the book, and we'll text you back on where to meet to get it. Okay? Thank you. Thanks. Okay, thanks, Meta.
Thank you.
All right. Now, for the final session of day 1 at Rise, our next guest needs very little introduction, but I will give him one anyways. As CTO of arguably the biggest technology company in the world, he's been a major part of several tech advancements that have shaped the 21st century, namely Alexa, Echo, and Prime. Here to talk about the next frontier for voice recognition technology, please welcome to the stage Chief Technology Officer of Amazon, Werner Vogels.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for staying around for the last session today at Rise, also known as the Irish invasion in Hong Kong. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the change in UIs that we're seeing. Yeah, if there's one thing that I want you to walk away with, is that if you want to reach a larger audience, you'll have to start thinking about different interfaces to your digital systems. Yeah, so let me start off with an example. This is the International Rice Research Institute. They're about, 4 hours drive outside of Manila in the Philippines, and they do research on growing rice. Now, this is massively important here in Asia, and especially in Southeast Asia, and they're really targeting the poorest farmers in Southeast Asia. So they do also the research. They have 70,000 strands of rice DNA in their freezer. They're an amazing organization. And so one thing that they did was they built a digital system where farmers from Southeast Asia could actually log into and describe their patch of land, and then they would get advice back about how much fertilizer to buy and when to apply it. Nobody used it. Why not? Because none of these farmers had a computer. None of these farmers has a smartphone. This whole illusion that sort of these developing countries, the internet would reach everybody through smartphones is nonsense. Because most of these farmers actually can't even read or write. And so smartphones are definitely outside of their budget. But what they do have is one phone in their village. So these guys changed the interface to their system. They gave it a voice interface. You can call into this system right now, select from 26 or something different dialects in Indonesia, describe your patch of land, machine learning goes off, and comes back with an answer about how much fertilizer to buy and when to apply it. Apparently, by the way, this reduces fertilizer use by 90% and doubles crop yield. Mostly because these farmers have never been educated about this. The success of this system, however, is not the back end, not the digital system. It's the fact that they gave it a voice interface. A natural interface. The way that we are all communicating day in and day out. And so voice will unlock digital systems for everybody to use. Not just for the digital millennia or the digital natives or how we've grown up and with all our voice assistants and things like that. No, it's much more important than that. It brings digital systems to everyone, especially those who can't read or write, and especially those who have not grown up with digital systems. Now, if you look back at sort of the interfaces to our digital systems, they have all been driven by the machinery. Yeah, the machine came with a screen, a keyboard, a mouse, your finger, but in essence, they're all the same. They all use the same capabilities, namely the capability of the machinery that drives you, that tells you how to interact with these systems. But that's not a natural way of interacting. These are machine-centric interfaces. It's not human-centric interfaces. That's where we need to go to. If you really want to unlock your digital systems for everyone, you need to start thinking about different ways in which you're going to interact with your audience and with your customers. It's not just voice. I honestly believe that our whole environment will become active. Start thinking about different ways of interacting with your customers instead of purely screen, keyboard, mouse. Talking is what we do. We do this all the time. Here, this is not a Slack channel. Right? This is not a WhatsApp group. I'm actually talking to you. And why is that? Because that's the way we sense emotion, we sense importance, we sense passion, we sense all sorts of other things from voice that you will never be able to get out of sort of these dead screens and which lack any emotion or which lack any importance in that sense. Imagine you're on the operating table and this surgeon is operating on you using both her hands. Yeah? Do you want her to take your hands off you to operate machinery? Or would it be nice if she would just continue to do what she's doing and she can talk to the machinery? Or, if you're a young dad with a sick kid, do you really want to go log on to WebMD and fill out a web form? Or do you just want to scream at the device and say, help me right now? Yeah, and the last example is absolutely targeted to me because I'm a stupid European living in America and still can't remember how many milliliters that go into a cup. Yeah, so every time when you're just cooking, you go, oh shit, now what now? Yeah, and so you don't want to clean your hands, get out your cell phone, type in the question, how many milliliters in the cup? No, you just want to ask it. And what you see is with everyone that has a voice assistant in their house, they won't pull out their cell phone anymore. They'll just talk. Why? Because it's natural. That's the way how we interact. Baidu, given that we're here in China or near China, is an important numbers here. It is the number of voice requests to Baidu increased 4x. But more importantly, you see the rise of output, yeah? Where really it's no longer acceptable to just give text. You actually have to communicate in a natural way. Yeah, and if you look at this, there was no search traffic based on voice in 2014. Now it's 10%. Now, if you look at sort of the growth of sort of voice assistants in the house, it is massive. And this is not just the HomePods and the Google Pods and the Alexas of this world. No, it's that many of the devices that you buy today will come with a voice interface integrated. Yeah, if you buy a GE fridge today, it will come with a voice interface. You buy a Sonos device, it will come with a voice interface. Yeah, all these interfaces are radically changing. It also changes the way that we need to start building our digital systems. Now, of course, my world is the world of Alexa. And so let me take you on a little bit of a tour about what sits at the back end of Alexa. Yeah? So actually the devices that you know about Alexa, the Echo devices, there isn't that much in there. It actually has some microphones, it has a speaker, a network connection, and that's all. Alexa doesn't live on this device. Alexa lives in the cloud. Yeah, there's two parts of Alexa. One is the Alexa voice service. That basically sits in the cloud and everybody can integrate that into their world if they want to. And then the skill sets for everybody else to extend Alexa in the way that it is. Yeah, so let's take a look at what happens in a typical system. This is the Echo example. So the one thing that it can do is wake word detection. In general, that's Alexa. It can also be computer. It can be Amazon, although I don't know that anybody actually changed it ever to Amazon. So a wake word, Alexa. It then starts capturing your speech, sends your speech over to the cloud, goes into automatic speech recognition, which changes it into text, then does natural language understanding to figure out what the intent is of the user, and then tries to figure out what skills actually need to be executed based on the intent of the user. And then you get sort of text back, text goes into text-to-speech, and then that speech goes back into the device. All of this needs to happen within 1 second. Because that's how important voice is. If we feel that this is not a natural interaction, where it takes too long for the answer to come back, we don't feel that as a natural way of interacting. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why it's taken so long for voice to be integrated. We didn't have the hardware nor the software capabilities, the platforms for deep learning and things like that, that could actually execute this within a second, such that actually the interaction feels normal. So that is what Alexa is. Yeah? The important part actually is that this is a piece in the cloud. It's not unique to Amazon. Anybody can integrate this into their devices if they want to. As I said earlier, so like GE is putting it into their fridges, BMW, Volkswagen, Mercedes, all these others are all integrating Alexa into their world. Important is that we build a platform that can be extended. Yeah, so it's not just Amazon that actually offers you these services. It's not just about search. It is actually a platform that can be extended by everyone. And that makes it very interesting. Yeah, it is, you can ask Uber to send something to your home. Or actually these days you can ask, with 30,000 skills, it's hard to figure out which skills to exactly use. So you can say, hey Alexa, I've got a stain on my shirt. Which service should I be using? And so Alexa comes back and says, well, you could be using Tide or Drift. Try either one of those to actually remove that stain. So it's a normal way of interacting with your systems. These skills live in the cloud. So you get with all of the capabilities that cloud computing gives you, all of the machinery and all of these things come with it. So you can build your systems. Just drop them in there and wait for your customers to start accessing them. And so it's very different in different countries. Yeah, so these are the most popular ones in the UK, for example. These are the ones that are pretty popular in France. And so you'll see that every country has their own set of skills that really work well for this particular set of customers. And to integrate Alexa into any machinery, this is a funny example that a hobbyist did.
Alexa, what's the weather?
Currently, in Cambridge, it's 45 degrees with showers. Tonight, you can look for rainy weather with a low of 43 degrees.
So the idea is, no matter what kind of hardware or systems that you're building, you can integrate the Alexa voice service into it and give everything that you're doing a voice interface. Yeah? And by the way, this is not just about voice. Yeah? I'm kind of miffed about sort of the integration of cell phones into everything that we do. I don't know if you've seen these new toothbrushes that have come out that are internet enabled. So basically you're brushing your teeth and you're looking at your cell phone, whether you're doing it right or not. Yeah? Not quite the interface that you have in mind. More importantly, I think there's other human interfaces that really change behavior. If you have a smart energy home, if you really have to look at the graph on your phone to figure out whether you're using the right energy or not, it doesn't change behavior. If your clock, however, changes from green to red when someone actually puts on the hairdryer, that changes behavior. Yeah, so find other natural interfaces in our environment to be able to do this. And so it's not just about voice. It is thinking beyond screen, keyboard, mouse. Yeah, because that's sort of the past. Yeah, the new word these days is app fatigue. 80% of the apps on your phone, you never touch them anymore. And really, if you have to install a new app, don't you get annoyed? Yeah, so mostly because all of these, you have to learn new things to do it. A voice interface, however, will make it that simple to do. And it's not just at home. So let me rush you through a number of other examples. I think one of the things that we've seen in enterprise computing, for example, is that it in general takes 2 generations before new technology gets applied in the workplace. Yeah, so the fact that you still can't have apps and things like that for your enterprise applications is just crazy. Voice, however, has an ability to jump over this because it's such a natural interface. People get annoyed at work if they have using the apps or things like that. Yeah, so Alexa for Business makes it easy for everyone to actually integrate voice into the workplace. And whether that is in the conference room, like the example I just showed, or whether it's actually really in your office. And so there's 3 parts to that. First of all, there's a management interface that allows a company to sort of manage all these Alexa devices. It allows a company to build new skills that are uniquely for that company. And what you'll see in that environment is that the most popular skills are the things that you always ask. What time does the cafeteria close? Yeah? What is it? Please call the help desk. Yeah? What is X, Y, or Z's number? Things that you normally would have to log into your phone tool or whatever, or sort of your internal website to sort of ask questions. It makes it easy. It's that simple to integrate voice into a workplace. And then the third sort of type of skills that we see there are basically skills delivered by companies like Salesforce and others. That's sort of, for example, where I can ask, hey, Salesforce, hey, Alexa, ask Salesforce, what were the biggest deals from yesterday? Yeah. And so one particular area where Alexa is extremely popular in this setting is actually in hotels. So, for example, the Wynn in Las Vegas has put Alexa devices in every hotel room. So now you can just walk into your hotel room and say, hey, Alexa, close the blinds. Hey, Alexa, switch the TV to whatever. You know, hey, Alexa, order this from room service. All these skills are private skills for that particular organization to deal with, to interact with their digital systems. Now, very quickly, if you want to actually build this thing yourself and you don't really want to make use of the Alexa voice service, we also give you capabilities in the machine learning world. On one hand, we give you access to the whole stack, but nobody really wants to become a data scientist to actually start using these voice services. At AWS, the Amazon Cloud Computing Division, it's our goal to put machine learning into the hands of everyone. And we do this by having something called SageMaker, where everyone can execute machine learning algorithms if that's what they want to. However, if you're interested in the voice world, we have a number of pre-built speech and hearing models ready for you to use. Yeah, Polly does text-to-speech, and Amazon Lex does automated speech recognition and natural language understanding. The 2 components, basically, that make up Alexa. So you can integrate that and build that into any of your applications. So the most important thing that I want you to walk away with is that the era of machine-centric interfaces is coming to an end. Yeah? If you want to engage more and more of your customers, make sure that you build your digital systems with voice as an interface. I'm going to leave you with 2 remarkable examples. This is an article in the Atlantic that describes someone that says her father, who's been blind for a very long time, has never been able to access digital systems because all these screen readers and things like that, they're really not that good. But the arrival of a voice-driven interface suddenly unlocks that whole world for them. If you've ever given an iPad to your grandmother, you know that there's one thing that she does with it, is hit the Skype button. Yeah? However, if you could talk to the device, that will be something very different. So the last example that actually really maybe almost tear up is that this is this guy that actually writes this blog about how he has dementia and how his mental capabilities are deteriorating. So he gets an Alexa device and he is over the moon with it. And why? Because, one thing that he always noticed with his caregivers is that if he would ask the same thing over and over again, they would sort of eventually get irritated. But Alexa, he can ask him 20 times the same thing. And she'll be happy to answer the same thing. And she'll never lie to him. Yeah? So with that, I strongly believe that voice really represents the next evolution in how we are building our digital systems. So with that, please give your digital systems that you're building now a voice. Thank you very much.